welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic.
Consider safe. Great job, 49ers.
The 5 best players ever in the NBA, Kobe Bryant is not one of them.
Rafa, you can't say anywhere that he doesn't belong in the league. Give me that amount of money, and I'll do whatever you want me to do. Josh Allen will never make the playoffs again.
The SEC is straight trash.
This fool was a thrum bump.
Oh, he was in one of those vests? Yeah. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Two Nobodies with the Mic podcast, episode 109. Guys, we are live. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. So, you know the deal. We are a show of the people. We are the gambling show of record. Rafa, we only have one rule. What rule is that?
Don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser, man.
We're going to lose bets. Everyone's going to lose bets. Just lose what you can afford.
10-4. Look at us with our public announcement being all responsible as shit. Well, that being said, let's get down to the tomfoolery. Guys, we are breaking the show up into two because there's just so much to talk about regarding college football. So this is our College Football Tuesday edition. We had the playoff. We had the rankings just announced maybe 2-3 hours ago. But first, let me get into the introductions. This handsome young man to my right is Rafa the guru of the show, knowledgeable in all sports, water polo, golf, as you can see, hockey. He does it all, man. What's up, Rafa? How you doing, man?
Good. What's going on?
And then executive producer of our Tuesday night show, CJ Wowo, Division I football center, Air Force Academy, national champion at St. John Bosco, 2-time state champ at St. John Bosco. Were you the last
SEC hater?
Certified SEC hater, yes. Oh, we're getting no yelling. We already said no yelling this show, but we will get into that. But guys, we are live on YouTube. We are your questions, comments, they will pop up here. Is anyone looking at the YouTube? See if there's any questions from there. Can they communicate with us through YouTube or Instagram?
We got Trickster Ricksters in the house.
All right, man. Well, that being said, episode 109. Let's break it down. Like I just said earlier, college football playoffs, the brackets. We are 1 week away. 1 week away for this thing being set in stone. And is there anything that stands out to you, Rafa and CJ, that you have a beef about or you feel should be changed?
Oh, you already know what they're trying to do. They're basically already telling us that no matter what happens in that ACC championship game, that the loser is out and that Alabama is in. The loser don't expect to get in because they're letting you know right now that they don't respect your conference championship over Alabama's big wins this season.
It's 100% accurate. I fucking said it last week that Alabama has a better resume and deserves to be in over Indiana. Unfortunately, Indiana will be in. And for some people, unfortunately, Alabama looks like they will be in. SMU sitting at the 8th spot. I mean, they're the 3 technically in the playoff, but in reality, their ranking is 8. If they lose to Clemson, they will have 0 quality wins, I believe, right? Is that basically what it breaks down to? So
go ahead.
I mean, you know, Moises Arona, by the way, says hello, gents. Just logged
on.
We're just getting started, buddy. We are just getting started.
Buckle up, Moises.
So notable wins that SMU has. They beat Duke by 1 point, beat Pitt by about 20.
Man, look at these.
And then I'm just giving you their notable wins. I'm letting you comment on them. And they lost to BYU by 3.
Yeah, okay. So their notable wins are trash.
Yeah, no one's ranked in the top 25 there. I'm shocked. I mean, Indiana's not even a question, Rafa. That should not be in question. Indiana, but I mean, if you're gonna question anything, you know, it would be Miami, right? Or SMU. But I feel like SMU is getting in either way.
Oh no. The committee's showing you right here, right now.
Yes.
They're showing you already At Alabama at 11, they're showing you that Alabama's there to stay. Like,
oh yeah,
if the only way SMU gets in is if by lose they have to win, but if they lose, they're out. Them having Alabama at 11 is showing you that,
which I don't agree with personally.
So,
I am no. This is not SEC hate. I've already made the statement. I've already had my coming out party and said that the SEC is the greatest conference. Okay. So I'm just saying this. Basically, what you're telling me is that as a committee, you are saying that you are going to penalize SMU for losing the conference championship game, which is a game inherently that you have to earn by running through your conference. So I think, me personally, I understand. Yes, I think that Alabama and SMU on a neutral field, I personally don't. I'm not going to say that Alabama would win outright because I think the SMU is a very good team. But I think that the conference championship should be awarded, even if it's a loss, because Alabama didn't make it to theirs.
Well, let me say this. I think that the committee is saying it a little bit differently. You could say it that way if you want. I think what they're saying is your quality wins are more important than the losses.
100%.
And Alabama has more quality wins. That loss to Oklahoma was disastrous. And that's the only reason this is even an issue. But their wins are much better than anybody that SMU has played. And I think they're rewarding the wins that Alabama has.
No, I get that.
Yeah, the committee's 100% rewarding the wins. And look, if you look at it, put it this way. If Clemson beats SMU, then the committee, it's easy. Like, there should be no complaining because their breakdown of it, Clemson's in, they win the ACC, right? Why would we keep SMU in, who just lost to Clemson, who the week before lost to South Carolina, who lost to Alabama? Like, it's just real simple because the wins, like Eddie said, the quality wins is what the committee cares about. SMU has none. Trust me, if Indiana had 2 losses, we know they wouldn't be there.
Correct.
So because they have 0 quality wins as well. So the one that the one that's telling is leaving Georgia at number 5, and because Georgia, if Georgia were to get their ass whooped by Texas, which I don't think is going to happen, but if they were to get their ass kicked, I think if they were further back in the rankings, like I think if they were like 8, then you can easily maybe boot them out and maybe keep SMU in, even if they lost. But that obviously is not going to happen. Looking at what they did here.
Oh, buddy, was I rooting against Georgia? 7 OTs. Oh, that was just heartbreaking for me to watch. Lord knows I'm not a Georgia lover. But I have a question for both of you guys. Did the 12-team playoff work? Did anyone, and look forward to next week, let's say Iowa State wins. Did anyone Clemson wins, someone that is ranked outside of the top 12 makes it in? I believe that this worked. I don't feel anybody is not deserving. Miami Miami could only blame themselves at this point.
Yeah, okay. But to kind of answer your question, and if Arizona State, if there didn't have to be a Big 12, because let's say UNLV beats Boise this weekend. UNLV is obviously going to be in, right? And Boise will probably be out. But do you think is fucking UNLV better than Miami? No.
You're getting at a point. You're getting at a specific.
The 12 team did not work because you're having the 5 conference winners. That is why it didn't work. I don't like it. And I think.
Here's what I would frame it. I get what you're saying. I wouldn't say that it didn't work because the system that we had before was worse. So it definitely made it better. It definitely gave more teams opportunity. It definitely killed the argument of the regular season wasn't going to mean anything. It killed all of that. But I definitely think there's still so many improvements. Rafa's right. The conference champions should not get a bye. or at least the fifth one, the group of 5. That shouldn't be in there. It should be the 12 best teams. I don't even think necessarily that the conference champions should get an automatic bid. Like if a conference champion is sitting like the Big 12 outside or right outside and they're not performing well in their conference is in a down year, I have no issue with that weak conference, having their champion sit out. Personally, I want to see the 12 best.
That's what I think.
If UNLV wins I have no problem with them being in. Miami,
because they're not better
Miami had every fucking chance.
So did Alabama.
Yeah,
but Alabama has better wins. But Alabama has better wins.
Well, Alabama has better wins. They play better teams that give them an opportunity to have better wins.
Miami's wins are Duke and Louisville, and they have 2 questionable calls against Virginia Tech and Cal. Okay.
No, I get what you're saying. What your question is? Did the committee work? Obviously, it worked. Could it be better? 100%. I don't think that. If Boise, let's say if Boise's, because Boise's played nobody, by the way. They played Oregon, and then that was it. And they played Oregon early. And I keep saying, like, they played Oregon the second week of the season after Oregon had just beat Idaho by 10. Okay? Yeah. That was like the second week of the season. So Boise sitting up there playing a bunch of nobodies all year long. And that's what they're sitting at 10.
You gotta have the conference champions in. You have to have them in. Or else, why even have fucking conferences?
Okay, I get what you're saying. So the middle ground to this, I feel like, Eddie, is you leave the Power 4, but then again, like you're seeing, like Big 12 down year, we leave in Power 4. You're getting a team that's sitting way probably outside of the top, 10, 5 or 6 spots, getting a automatic bid. I'm sorry.
Look at Arizona State. They're ranked 15th, and they're in the 12th spot.
That is not a fault ranking either. That is a acknowledgement of how bad their conference is.
100%.
But they're ranked 15th. This is if everything. This is a projection. This.
It doesn't matter. Iowa State is ranked lower than them.
Yes.
They're ranked 16th.
And that's the other team that's going to get the 12 spot. It's one of those two. Neither of those two teams are better than Ole Miss. Neither of those two teams are better than South Carolina.
So basically, what they tried to do with the rules, because the argument was the regular seasons weren't going to matter. So what they said was okay, if you make your conference championship, that's how we're going to make it matter. However, we saw how the way people played. It doesn't matter. There's so many more teams going to compete because there's 12 spots. So regardless of the conference championship getting a bid, teams are going to compete because there's more opportunities.
I think I'll be honest with you. I think they should take it to 14 and give 2 buys if you're gonna run with this scenario of the five conferences, right? Which is basically it's always going to be the Big 12. Basically, it's going to be hard to find a team in Conference USA or in the AAC or whatever that ends up ranked higher than a team in the Big 12 as a conference winner. Because that's the other thing. It doesn't tell you which 5 conferences it is. It can very well be the fucking Sun Belt, this, and that. Obviously, we know it's never going to be that.
Right.
But it could be, right? So it just happens to be that the Big 12 is ranked higher than Army. If Army right now was ranked above them, or Tulane ranked above Arizona State or Iowa State, they would be in that 12th spot, and the Big 12 wouldn't get an opportunity. I think if you're going to have the 5, I think you because you're only taking in reality the 5 conference winners and then the 7 best teams after that. Yes. So we're not even getting the 12 best teams clearly because we have Arizona State at 15, and they're going to get in either them or Iowa State. That's 15 and 16. Where the fuck is 13, 14, and 15? Or 13 and 14?
I disagree with a little bit what you're saying because winning your conference championship is stating that you're the best in your conference. So we're getting the best 4, but that 5th one, it's the best 4, and then it's the next best 8. But it's that dangling 5th conference championship where it's like, we don't know if that's that conference champion is.
This year, the 5th conference champion is going to be the Big 12 winner, unless UNLV wins.
But I'm saying Oregon wins their champion. We know Oregon's probably the best team. If Texas wins or Georgia, we probably know they're one of the 2 best teams in the SEC. I'm saying with the 4 best conference champions, we can say that those are the 4 best teams in those conferences. We're just wondering why are we putting in an unnecessary team when we want to get the rest of the best 8?
So my unnecessary team in this right now, besides Indiana, obviously, is Arizona State.
And Boise State, I would say, is probably
And then right after,
yeah,
talent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right after that. But unfortunately, they're both. One of those two is probably both are probably going to be in. I think if you're going to do the 5 conference champions, you need to extend it a little bit. It's a shame that listen, South Carolina had 3 losses. They had a brutal schedule. Ole Miss had 3 losses. They fucking gave away 2 of those. So Ole Miss is fine being out. Miami, fine being out. But Miami's a better team than Arizona State. If South Carolina is a better team than South,
I don't know, man.
I mean,
we saw Miami struggle against some bad teams. Rafa. Let's point out the obvious here. When I look at this bracket, what stands out like a sore thumb to me, Oregon, the number 1 seed, the number 1 team in the country.
Yep.
If this plays out, they have the toughest fucking draw.
Yes. So
they
basically,
have Ohio State and Tennessee.
This gets to Rafa's point, though, because basically how this system is set up, depending on the season, the 5 seed is the best one to get. If you're Penn State, you're facing Arizona State, then Boise State, then the winner of the beat up Oregon, Tennessee, Ohio State.
Yeah,
right.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, but also look at it the other way. If Oregon loses, they drop probably to the 5, right? And so they'd sit at the 5, and then Penn State would get that tough task.
Yeah, but that's basically incentivizing teams not to win their conference.
And we don't. And this might not be final because, well, obviously we know it's not final. But if Georgia beats Texas, which they've already tapped their ass once, hard to beat a good team twice in any sport. Doesn't matter what it is. So, but if Georgia wins, now Georgia's one of the 4, and then Texas is probably the 5 or the 6 because Texas currently sits at 2. You're gonna if they lose to Georgia in a tight one. They're either the 5 or the 6. That Ohio State's probably not going to end up at that 8.
Yeah, but that doesn't change your argument. That doesn't change what me and Eddie are saying. We're basically saying that the 1 seed has a tougher road than the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Well, the way it's set up,
that'll be each year, though, Rafa. That'll be each year, though, because the way 8 or 9 will play out each year is that it'll be a very, very competitive team, and then the 5 seed will be that team that it's really built for Notre Dame, but that 5 team will be the next best conference loser. And it incentivizes teams not to win a conference championship.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oregon.
If you're Oregon, but okay, if you're Oregon, let break it down. If you're Oregon, Ohio State's not playing, so they're probably going to sit at the 6. But let's just change it around. Let's say Oregon wins, but Texas and Texas loses. So now Texas moves to the 5 more than likely. Okay, Notre Dame stays at the 6. Okay, Tennessee's not playing, so. Where's Penn State dropping to? They're currently at 3, even though they're the 5. They're currently the number 3 seed. If they lose a tight one to Oregon, they can easily they can move to the 6th spot or maybe even the 7th. But yeah, I get what you're saying. The 8 and the 9 matchup usually is going to be tough. But it's unfortunate. That's the way it's going to go down.
Well,
so what can we do?
Listen, after last weekend. Rivalry weekend, which was incredible. Yes. It was like bloody, like red wedding in
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. That's how good last Saturday was, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's get into some of those amazing games and the topic of planting your flag. On your rivals' 50-yard line logo. There's been a lot of talk. We saw Sarkisian at Texas bring his guys off and told him not to celebrate that way. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State, that was freaking awesome. And we'll get into that real quick. But everything, listen, when college football went to 4 teams, there was always talk. And that's what college football wants. It's always a major topic. Now we've gone to 12. It's a little bit, there's still a lot to talk about. But it goes to show you after last weekend, the hate, the vitriol, the loyalties, the family divide. It was everything that the NFL is not. It was incredible. And I just want to know your guys' opinion on rivalry weekend and what was your favorite fight? What was your favorite moment? What stood out to you, Rafa, after this weekend?
Well, I talked about it the other night on Yapping, but we haven't put it up. But I don't like the plant flag type shit. Like I don't like that, to be honest with you. It's not my thing. Like you're disrespecting the game of a rivalry that's been there before and after you. It's going to be there. It's been there before and it's going to be there after you. Don't make it about yourself. Make it about the university. So I don't like it too much. And look at the problems it created. Fucking guys are getting mazed. There's a shit show. It's a shit show. So I'm not a fan of it. Let the fans, let the students and the fans, and let the band battle it out. But none of these dudes, like, dude, you're gonna go and catch a case because you're fucking fighting in midfield, swinging helmets or whatever the fuck, right? I don't know if they were, but it's gonna get to that point fucking eventually, where one of these roid monsters. You're gonna tell me these guys aren't on roids? You've seen the program. I talked about it the other night. One of these motherfuckers, one of these roid rage motherfuckers, is gonna grab one of those helmets and nick somebody over the fucking head, and put them out. And
we've seen it before.
Yeah, we've seen it in the NFL actually.
Well, that was roid rage. So
you're saying Myles Garrett's on steroids?
Man, that man's a specimen, bro. You seen that man? That motherfucker bad. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this whole plant the flag bullshit. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
I agree. I think they got to bring it back a little bit. But
Eddie, I was hoping you were gonna come with me on this one.
No, you know what?
Fucking people.
You know what?
No, but Eddie's a purist. He's a college football purist.
And nobody ever did that.
Baker Mayfield started it.
Yes, and that was 8 years ago.
Here's why I don't like it. It's because, to me, every team develops the personality of their head coach. And I feel like if these coaches are building young men, I get the hype, I get the hate, I get the throw down. I threw down, with Hoover High School, ran out there and swung helmets and everything. I get it, but I love what Sarkisian did. Win with class, lose with class. If 100%. You're teaching young men how to be in society, if you get a promotion, are you gonna go fucking, stand on your coworker's desk and fucking plant your flag and be like, "You suck! I got the promotion." I know that's going a little bit too far, but I love head coaches that really rule with an iron fist, a la Nick Saban, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to reel you in a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can reel you in. I feel like we are college football purists, and what I mean by that for the people is that I love college football more than the NFL because of everything that happens on and off the field. Everything that happens on and off the field together, the pageantry that surrounds it. So Jason Negro is one of the most honorable coaches that I will ever play under. And I agree with you. I respect coaches that win with class. But Michigan, Ohio State. And here's what I'm gonna say. Eddie, and this is probably where I think you're gonna agree with me. If you are playing your rival at home, Bosco Mater Dei, does Bosco get to control what happens on Bosco's field after Mater Dei beats their ass? If Mater Dei's planting a field, do we go out there and we just fucking fight and start a fist fight in the middle of Parents Fan Stadium? No. Guess what Jason Negro probably does? There's still probably a process of stopping it. Hey guys, but there is no full-on brawl. You don't get to control what your rival does on your field after they beat your ass. That's a part of football. Whether they're celebrating, whether they're rushing the field, you don't get to control any of it. Yeah. Why? Because you just got your ass beat by your rival. Teams that have been waiting to play all year, all the animosity built up, and you're going to start a brawl because they planted a flag? I'm sorry. I give more. I'm pointing my finger more at the guys that from Ohio State that came over and started swinging than Michigan State for planting the flag.
So I know I've said this before. Went on a wrestling all-star thing. We got the tour of Ohio State, and we went into the weight room. The guy who gave us, amazing weight room, he specifically told us there's a huge Ohio State logo in the center. Nobody was allowed in our group or on the team to stand on that logo. That's how serious that shit is taken. So I understand when Ohio State lost their shit. Okay, I understand.
Me too, 100%. Yeah.
I understand why they lost their shit. They're not allowed to fucking stand on the fucking logo, and they go to school there. That's how much they respect the O. Now that being said, I agree with you. You don't want it to happen. Don't fucking lose at home. So I get what you're saying there. Now, that's a good transition.
Yes.
Into our next little topic here. And I have a question to pose for you, and I would love for anyone live on Instagram or YouTube to answer this. My question to you two and to everyone out there is Ryan Day a bad coach? Rafa.
No.
Well, I don't know if you can be a bad coach and be 66-10 at Ohio State. Are you a bad coach for Ohio State standards? Probably after Urban Meyer. Yeah, Urban Meyer was 83-9.
Hello.
And so you're 1-3 against Michigan. You haven't beat them since 2019 or whatever it was.
He's 0-4.
No, he's 1-3. They won 1-3, 56-27. They won. I think it was in 2019 or 2020. Might have been his first year there was. Okay. But you haven't beat Michigan. You do beat the crap out of Penn State. But you haven't won big games. I mean, you got to the playoff with a hell of a roster, and CJ Stroud kept you in that game. You might have won that game if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't go down. But the talent that you've had at wide receiver and everywhere else, offensive line,
everywhere,
corner, like the talent you have, and for you to not be able to get into a championship game as far as a college football championship. And who knows, this year could be different. Highly doubt it, because I don't think he's just not a big time coach. At 66-10, you can't be a bad coach. You're just not a great coach, is what I think it is. He's not as great as guys we've seen before him at Ohio State, Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, whatever. He's not greater than Jim Harbaugh at Michigan because Harbaugh won there at the end. He's not greater than Kirby and fucking Nick Saban and a lot of those guys. He's not greater than Dan Lanning at this point because he lost to him. Granted, on the road, tough game, whatever. But I think he's just underperformed. I don't think he's just not a big time coach. I don't think he's a terrible coach because his record will say otherwise. So if you want to do a comparison, Ed, in your eyes, not in mine, but in your eyes, he's the Brock Purdy of head coach.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Like 66-10.
Everyone around him.
But you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So, but I'm just saying I'm just using Ed logic, not mine.
Well, it makes perfect sense to me.
But
I get it.
That's what I figured. That's what it was.
Thank you, Rafa. Thank you.
No problem.
No, Ryan Day has the best active winning percentage of any head coach in college football. So to call him trash is just not. You can't, because he's the winningest active coach right now. But he's just not the most meaningful winningest coach. So it's like he doesn't win the meaningful games. And so to answer your question, no, but you're not. I proposed some names to Rafa yesterday, but there's not many candidates out there you can replace him with.
What does he need to do? Because right now, the Scarlet and Gray, they want his ass out. I've heard people like diehard say, if I had a choice to lose in the first round and fire him, they're willing to sacrifice throwing away this season to get him out. Now,
that's ridiculous.
If you look into his resume, he was kind of gifted this. Went to New Hampshire, played quarterback and linebacker. and his coaching career started, in 2002. Coached tight ends, went to Boston College as a graduate assistant, was at Florida as a graduate assistant, Temple, then Boston College, back to Temple, back to Boston College, then went into the NFL as a QB coach for the Eagles and 49ers. And then 2017, he's a QB coach and a offensive coordinator. He was handed a golden goose, man. Like,
I don't, Eddie.
Oh,
Eddie.
Was he
so
not?
No, you're 100% right. Here's my argument. That's how these coaching carousels work. If you don't know by now, if anybody doesn't know, there's not just Nick Saban trees. There's a bunch of different trees. Coaches know each other. They communicate. They talk to each other. They hire each other. And if you're not in that coaching circle, then, there's a reason why Gus Malzahn is now the offense coordinator at Florida State. Like, they just rehire each other. It's really hard to break through into that career field. So I get you, but most coaches, most coaches just get handed platters. Most coaches are born on third base.
Oh man, I mean, look at Lincoln Riley. You could look at Freeman from Notre Dame. You could look at our man James Franklin. You could look at there's a ton of guys who went into some really tough situations and built a program. Ryan Day has never built anything, not even close, not even remote. He has never been a head coach anywhere except for Ohio State. So maybe he's just not that dude. Now his buyout is $38 million. So that's a lot of dollar bills, y'all. What does Rick have to say?
He said, I think he's a bad leader. Just to stand and just to look and just to watch and not to do one thing about the fight means a lot. Coach is doing well. Just has high expectations. I think he needs to fulfill.
Did he get bamboozled with the Ohio State "we're not tough" and then ran right into the teeth of the two best players?
Yes, two
Michigan.
first-round defensive linemen waiting for his ass, and he decided to run right at them because Ohio State, quote unquote, wasn't tough.
Yeah, he got bait and switched, man, like a fucking cart. I mean, he really got, and I've said this for how many weeks now. To me, his worst decision was bringing in Chip Kelly. You have, those receivers everywhere, tight end receivers. Yeah.
Probably a phenomenal roster, but I don't know.
So what do you think, Rafa? What is it going to take to save this guy's job?
Well, no. He needs to win. He needs to win at least.
The first
he needs to
round?
win at least 2 games. I think he needs to win at least 2 games. He has to beat Tennessee, or let's just look at it this week. He has to beat Tennessee. Do I think they will? Probably. They need to win 2 games. They need to get into that semifinal for him to save his job. But what we don't talk about enough, like people don't say it. How many times does this team turn the ball over on downs? Like on downs. They have endless drives where it's like, we're not taking any points. Like against Indiana, you turnover on downs. Against Michigan, turnover on downs. Like, take the points. At the end of the day, if you're taking 3 points, it's going to look a whole lot different. You had an opportunity to take 6 points in the Michigan game, and you didn't. And so that's also an issue, and that's not necessarily Chip Kelly's fault because he's calling the plays. He's not making the decision on 4th and 2 to go for it. But on 4th and 2, you need to sit down with Chip and say, hey, this is what we got on 4th and 2. This is what we got on 4th and 3. We got to be better. We are having trouble converting these 4th downs down inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line.
I think that's a coaching issue, not only in college. We've talked about this. I don't know if it's an analytic thing or not, but the days of playing conservative football, punting and kicking field goals and not going for it on your own fucking, or going for it on your own fucking 18. We're seeing this more and more and more. I don't know if it's the generation of people playing NCAA football and Madden where, it means nothing and let's just go for it all the time. but this is a league wide and a football issue. People, field goals aren't valued anymore. Well, I mean, Ohio State did miss 2 pretty easy ones though.
But it's a tough one. But what playoffs are going to come around the corner, 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away, whatever it is. So we'll see what Ohio State does. We know they're in.
But moving on for show, we got to get to the games, the conference. We are at conference. The season has just flown by. Like the season actually, we're already at conference championships. I'm not happy about it.
I know.
But let's start. First game of the week. We got number 20 UNLV versus number 10 Boise State and Heisman hopeful Ashton Jeanty. Boise State -4, and the total sits at 58.5.
No, so the line opened at 3.5. It's now 4. The money is obviously coming in on Boise. Better quarterback, better running back, obviously. How's UNLV going to play this game? Are they gonna play their usual selves? They're gonna throw the ball, do all of that, or are they gonna be timid? If I'm UNLV, I'm going balls to the wall. Let's fucking go out there and win this game and make a playoff, which would be a huge fucking statement for UNLV to be in the first college football playoff. I'm cheering for UNLV. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm cheering for them.
Oh, listen to make a Vegas pun. They're playing with house money, man.
Yes.
They are.
I mean, there should be 3 reverses, a halfback toss pass. There should be a couple fake punts. UNLV is playing with house money here. And, I do like Boise State's quarterback. I think they're talented. But UNLV has some talent too. I think UNLV is going to make this game really, really interesting. And we're going to see now, because the Heisman race is done. It's Travis Hunter. We don't have to yell about that. It's going to be interesting to see Boise State's play calling when they're not trying to get Ashton Jeanty the Heisman Trophy and keep feeding him the ball, over and over and over and over again to prove to people that he's the best running back or the best player in college football. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to make note of in this game. But yeah, running Rebels, man. Let's go.
Yeah, also to watching that game, that Boise, the last handful of games, in the beginning of the game, they've struggled for the most part with some of these teams. San Diego State, like the handful of teams, they've struggled. Like Jeanty's had a handful of games where he's had 12 carries for 45 yards.
Yeah.
Or 15 carries for 52 yards up until that point, right? Then obviously in the second half, he blasts away. Can UNLV capitalize on Boise's mistakes as far as drop passes, maybe getting sacked, their punt? When Boise punts, UNLV needs to capitalize. Make sure they score. UNLV has to aim. Listen, if we're getting 12 drives, 11 drives, 9 drives, we need to score on 85% of them. 3, 7, whatever it is. And UNLV's got to come out, and UNLV has to come out the way Boise used to come out when they play in their bowl games against a big school back when they had Kellen Moore and those Boise teams, where you'd see them run all sorts of trick plays like Eddie was saying. So UNLV, you got nothing to lose. Like Eddie says, come out and do your thing, and hopefully the Running Rebels, I think the town will appreciate it. Man.
Yeah, this is a rematch. This is a rematch from earlier in the year. Boise State did get a really close win, 29-24. This game is going to be extremely close. Yeah. I think the 4. You said the line moved to what, Rafa? Moved to 5?
It's 4. It's 4. The line opened at 3.5. It's 4.
I like UNLV with the spread here. But moving on to the next game, we're moving on to the troops of America. Tulane versus number 24 Army. Tulane getting the favorite here, -5 with the total sitting at 45.5. Eddie, I'll start with you on this one.
I hate to be unpatriotic here, but I really like Tulane. I really like their head coach. I think he's a really good coach. And if I had to take someone, my heartstrings are pulling for the West Point young men. But I think Tulane's going to be too much, man. I think that offense is really good. And I think they're going to outscore them.
I think Army's going to do a better job with controlling the ball. I think they're going to control the ball. I think they're going to keep Tulane off the field. I think they're going to keep the game close. I like Army with the 5. I don't know if they win. I think they keep it close though.
I like Army with the 5 as well.
Because there's nothing. I'm sorry, CJ. There's nothing like for Army to go into next week's game against Navy with that fucking just that championship. Like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that
would be big bragging
right. That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like Army with the points here for sure. But we'll move on to the next game. We're going to move on to the Big 12. This is a huge game. A number 16 Iowa State versus number 15 Arizona State. The line I don't have in front of me, deleted. Let me see what the line sits at. Rafa, do you have the line where it's clear sits at?
I think it was 1.5, but you can look it up and double check. I don't want to fuck up and say it. But this game's gonna be in Dallas. 9 a.m. start, by the way, are on the West Coast.
Or -1.5.
Yeah, Arizona State, right? -1.5.
Arizona State -1.5.
Yeah, I feel like Arizona State is the toughest team in the Big 12, which we thought was going to be Utah and Arizona. And the Big 12 has always been historically soft. And now with all these new group of guys, it was also fucking soft. So I think Arizona State's going to hit him in the mouth. And Kyle Dillingham, right? It's Kyle Dillingham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the white Ashingenti. Scataboo, man. Scataboo. He's a dog. He's a dog. He was a dog last year. He's the heart and soul of that team. You know, the Sun Devils, that town and that university has been dying for a winner since Jake Plummer was there with Pat Tillman, and they had. I mean, did they make it to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State? I believe that year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did make the Rose Bowl.
I love Scataboo. I love ASU here. Sorry, Richard Dice, but good for the Sun Devils to go into the Big 12 and just punk everybody. I love it, man. I love the
Dillingham. Shout out to Dillingham. He just gave his $200,000 win bonus to his assistant coaches. So
yeah, he did. It was a great job. Great job. Yeah, I think they're gonna punch him in the mouth, and I think they're gonna win the Big 12. They'll be the number 12 seed more than likely, and then you're gonna see him. By the way, if Penn State is that 5 seed, that might not be a cakewalk for.
Oh,
for
hell no! No, it's not.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. But Mr. Dillingham will be a head coach in a big time program next year or the year after. I'm telling you, I said Auburn a couple weeks back. Auburn maybe is a possibility. I think he will be big time. His team plays tough. They play tough. And that's an SEC. You play tough in the SEC. The soft shit is for the tough shit's for the soft shit. That's for other conferences.
I believe he was the OC at Auburn at one point.
Yeah, he was the OC at Auburn. I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
War Eagle.
Yes,
War
sir.
Eagle, baby. All right. We're going to move on. We're going to get to the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. And there's a lot of contentiousness around this game. Number 17, Clemson versus number 8, SMU. SMU -2.5 for total, sitting at 56.5. Rafa, what are your thoughts?
Man, I like Clemson. And I like Clemson only because of Debo. I think Clemson, I think they've been there before, been there, done that.
Dabo.
Dabo, I'm sorry. Dabo Sweeney.
What you got in my 40, fool?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm train.
Sorry, but yeah, Dabo's big time. He's been big time for a long time. And you know, you get into school from Highland Park, Texas. This might be too big of a moment for SMU. I love the quarterback though. But I think it's a big moment for them. I think Clemson can pull it off. I like Clemson to win this game.
Any thoughts?
I love SMU here. I've been forced to watch at least 3 or 4 Clemson games now. I am not impressed by anyone. Not the 5-star quarterback. Not Dabo, the daddy coach that he is. I love SMU here, man.
Daddy coach, I forgot about that.
He's a daddy coach, man. He's a daddy coach. taking kids underneath his wing. No, SMU's been sneaky good for a long time, and let's not forget, the days of Eric Dickerson. What SMU has is a shit ton of money in Highland Park, Texas. You know that, Rafa, and the Southern Methodist people over there. I'm telling you, watch out. Watch out. Not only this year, but watch out. I mean, Texas is Texas. I mean, they have more money than anybody.
And football is everything.
And football is everything. But SMU and those parents and those good Southern Baptist Methodist kids that they want to send their kids to a good football program. I think SMU is a program on the rise, and I would be very careful. I love SMU in this spot.
I like it. I think personally that Clemson wins and ruins this whole shit. It just fucks it all up, creates chaos. I think Clemson, and I think Dabo does it with like a smug. He's gonna have like a smugness about it. Like, you guys counted me out. You guys didn't think I was gonna be back here. You guys thought I was going away. Ha ha, motherfuckers! I'm right back here in the mix, and I'm not going anywhere with my good quarterback, Clay Klubnik, who I still don't like. Fuck him. All right, we'll move on to the next game.
Love the hate, man. You hate him because he's white. You hate him
I
because
hate
he's white.
him.
You racist fuck.
He took DJ's job. That's why he hates him.
Yeah,
I know.
Fuck that motherfucker. Anyway. All right, we'll move on to the next game. Top 5 game, and this is a rematch here in Rafa's overrated bullshit-ass SEC conference. Number 5, Georgia versus number 2, Texas. Texas still getting the favorite here, -2.5, total sitting on 49.5. Rafa, what are your thoughts?
All right, listen. If you go back to before we started the college football season, this was my SEC championship game. I just had it a little different. I had Texas being undefeated and then losing this game to Georgia. Now things have changed where Georgia has already beat them. So it's hard to beat a good team twice, but I've been on the Georgia bandwagon and they played like shit, and I still been on that bandwagon. So I'm going to stay on the Dogs bandwagon. Go Dogs! Roo, roo, roo.
No. I'm calling the dog pound on you, Rafa, because Steve Sarkisian, I just talked about him earlier. I respect how he took those kids off the 50. That was a cool thing to watch. But not only that, Steve Sarkisian, coming from where he came from, El Camino High, junior high, or JC over here, studied under the offensive genius at BYU, Norm Chow. Okay, I believe that Steve Sarkisian and that offensive line that struggled so mightily against Texas will have a plan of attack. And, Georgia Tech, man, had Georgia on the ropes. 7 OTs, man. Had many opportunities to win that game. 8, was it 8?
It was 8.
I don't see how Georgia backs into this game and wins another. This game is not going to be a blowout. Steve Sarkisian will have his guys ready. He will have a game plan. If they won't protect, screens, draws, get the ball out of Quinn Ewers' hands immediately. They have the talent. They just got to be able to run an offense. The defense of Georgia was so dominant. I mean, they tried to put Archie Manning in for a couple series, and he got sacked. I think the very first play, really.
He threw an interception in his first drive.
Yeah. So I have a lot of faith in Steve Sarkisian. Like I said, I love Norm Chow, and I think he's going to have his guys ready, man. I think Texas wins this game and finally rids us of Georgia, the crappy team that they've been all year.
Here's what I think is going to happen. At the end of the day, what we've been talking about for most of this show is going to come to fruition on Saturday with Texas. Texas with this dog water ass schedule, and it's going to all come to a head. I think it's going to all come to a head in this game. I think Kirby Smart puts his foot down again It says, I am the leader of this conference. Good season, bad season, or indifferent season. I am the new leader. Nick Saban nominated me as the leader of this conference, and Steve Sarkisian, this is not your year. I think Texas' schedule, I'm sorry, the quarterback play for me hasn't been what I thought it was going to be this year for Texas.
I agree.
I think Georgia shocks us all, and they do it in a very like undominating way, where it's just kind of like they win, they get by, and Kirby wins, and Georgia wins, and Rafa, sucks their dick again, and we just go through this again. So that's my take on it.
Their dog water schedule in the SEC. Come on, man.
Yes, yeah. It was dog water. It was probably
they still were in the SEC.
The SEC gifted Texas the softest possible schedule for it to be their first year.
They did.
Kind of like they
shut up, Rafa.
Did for Indiana.
Wasn't Indiana's first year in the Big Ten though?
How about USC? Didn't it gift them USC too? Didn't USC get the soft ass schedule too?
They played Penn State.
SC had like the third toughest. SC had the third toughest schedule in the country.
Yes. Shut up. You just hate. You just got a hateful heart. That's what your problem is.
100%.
Anyways. All right. Last game of the week, and it is the game I'm looking most forward to because I think we got an upset brewing here. Number 3 Penn State versus number 1 Oregon. Oregon minus 3.5. Total sitting at 49.5. Eddie, I'll hit you first. What's your thoughts on this game?
I've had Oregon since day one. I think Dan Lanning is the best coach, not only in the Big Ten, but in all of college football. And I don't even think it's even fucking close. And all of college football. Dan Lanning is the best coach in all of college football. And it's not even close right now. He is on another level with his kids. I'm sorry.
What has he won? What has he won?
Oh, he's going to win a national championship. He's going to win a national championship.
Has he won?
He's won a national championship.
When?
When he was the defense coordinator at Georgia.
Oh, that shit don't count.
He's been at Oregon for 2 years.
We're not talking about what.
Okay?
We're going into the future. Dan Lanning is going to win the national championship this year, and then you will see that he is the best coach in college football.
So
and it's not even fucking close.
One national championship makes you the best coach in college football?
Currently, I mean, the field is pretty open.
I'm saying active, Rafa. I'm saying active.
Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh are gone.
I don't know if you understand. Nick Saban. Listen, I don't know if you know, there's a guy down in Athens, Georgia, that the motherfucker's last name is Smart because he's smarter than everybody else. That man has multiple championships, and if we're going to throw in as a coordinator, he's got some of those too. Are you kidding me? We're going to crown this man who has one win in a big game, one win in a big game, and we're going to crown him the best college football coach? We lost our mind on this show.
He is I'm telling you. No. I'm telling you, he is a mastermind. He is week after week, I see his it's not just a speech. He gets his guys ready.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Physically
He gets ready
and psychologically better than I've seen any coach do ever.
This part I agree with.
Yeah. So
I want to ask you something. How many ranked teams did they play this year? How many ranked teams did they play? I'm just throwing shit out there.
I guess
many ranked
Boise State.
Boise State was not ranked at that moment.
No. They're ranked now.
They're ranked now.
They're ranked now.
That counts. That counts. That ranked
now. How does that not count? How does that not count?
Because it's usually when you play them. All right.
No, Boise State that was good back then.
No.
Boise State has also played 0 ranked teams without Oregon.
How you count it is who's ranked now. It's how your schedule matters now. Right now, they beat Boise State. They beat Ohio State. They're about to. That's 2 ranked wins. That's more than Texas has.
Yeah.
Yes, Boise, a team that has 0 wins against a ranked team.
We're not talking about Boise.
Yeah, no, you are, because you said they beat Boise. They beat them by 3.
A team that's about to make the playoff.
With 0 ranked wins.
Doesn't matter.
This will be Boise. When Boise wins this weekend, that will be their first ranked win.
Doesn't matter.
And we're putting them in the playoffs.
I won. I don't know. Eddie Money's not here. Luckily, he's not here. But I won my bet. I had Oregon beating Ohio State in the conference championship.
Okay,
Ohio
well,
State
Oregon still needs to win this game. Oregon still needs to win this game.
He's already conceded.
Well, he's an idiot because it was the Big Ten championship. The Big Ten winner had
They didn't make it. My team made it.
It doesn't matter. You got to win it. The bet was Big Ten winner. It wasn't get there.
Well,
so everything that you just said, well, CJ thinks Penn State's going to win. So I don't think Penn State's going to win because James Franklin ain't big time, in my opinion. If James Franklin wins this game, he could be big time. But he's not. Penn State hasn't been big time for and we've seen it. They haven't been big time. They don't win big time games. It's been a minute. Okay. Yeah. So I would love Penn State to win because I don't think Dan Lanning is as good as everyone else thinks he is. That's just my opinion.
Is Penn State not big time, or is Penn State not big time against Michigan and Ohio State?
Penn State isn't big time against anybody that starts with an M and an O and has a number next to their ranking. That's exactly what it is.
I don't know about that last part. That last part I'm a little on.
Does Penn State have any ranked wins this year?
Let's check.
I don't know.
See. I think I have that down somewhere.
I don't. Maybe if they played Illinois, if Illinois ended up ranked,
they beat Illinois.
Yeah.
Is Illinois ranked right now?
Let me see.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So probably.
No, I don't think so.
No,
no, they don't got no. They don't got no. They
got
no rank wins on that
wins,
bitch.
No rank wins. So that Penn State has 0 rank wins. And so listen, like we criticize, and a lot of motherfuckers like to criticize Ole Miss with 3 losses, Bama with 3 losses, South Carolina with 3 losses, Georgia with 2 losses, and they played really bad. Georgia beat Tennessee. They played teams with motherfucking little numbers on the side of them week in and week out. Okay, yeah, they get their Mercer in, they get their fucking Georgia Tech in, all those turds, they get them in. But they played guys and teams with low numbers next to them.
Okay. So, here's where I rebut with that bullshit. We're going to make this quick, Eddie, because I know you got to go. I'll make this quick. Look, if you told me that Missouri was a top 10 team before the fucking season started, and you look at Missouri right now, all I'm saying is that some of these rankings have to have a little asterisk because preseason rankings matter. That
happens every year. But it happens
but you have to count for it.
But it happens every year. That's fine. Nobody's bringing up Missouri. That shit happens every year. That happens every year. You know, Auburn, the year they won the national title, they weren't ranked before the season started. By the way, that Auburn team fucking unloaded through every motherfucker they played. Okay? Yeah, Oregon ain't unloading on motherfuckers. They're barely beating Idaho in the beginning of the year. They're barely beating Wisconsin on the road. So
you brought up their 2 shitter games in there.
2 shitter games. You want Idaho? You want Idaho too? Come on, there was 3 shitters.
Listen,
3 shitter games.
Can I give Dan Lanning advice before we get off here? There's one thing you have to do to beat Penn State. Cover 4-4. 4-4. Stop the tight end. Do not let that tight end go off, and you will be fine. It seems like that's every week I watch Penn State. This dude, he's a baller, but he's not, he probably runs a 4.8. He's a big kid, but they seem to get this kid open, and he doesn't seem, and he's no Brock Bowers, but the kid, they run that offense through him, man. And if I think Dan Lanning will have something to say about 44 having a good game on Saturday.
Yes, so last thing we got on the go ahead, Marfa.
I think Oregon wins this game just because James Franklin ain't big time, but we'll see what happens.
Last thing on the slate, obviously we're sponsored by Kutt Bet. This show is sponsored by Kutt Bet. What are your guys' Kutt Bets of the conference football championship week?
I'm going to take Army +5. That's my Kutt Bet. Army plus the 5 and Clemson with the 2.5. Clemson on Kutt, Kutt, Clemson plus the 2.5, and Army Scarlet Knights plus the 5. I'm sorry, the Knights plus 5. Army plus 5.
And I love it because I love SMU and I love Tulane, so that works out perfect for me, Rafa. That's the one thing you can't do on Kutt is parlay, but it's better that way. Odds are better to win. So come find us on Kutt at Bosco Ed. I love me some SMU Mustangs, and I and I love me the green wave of Tulane, man.
It's just so sad. You're not hitting on the big games. But all right, man. All right. Rick Flores.
Rick said,
he finishes off with Notre Dame wins its conference.
Join the ACC already, Notre Dame, you losers.
Or the Big Ten, either one.
Yeah.
Eddie, go ahead and sign us off.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Join us tomorrow. That's our college football playoff talk. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Thanks to Rick Flores. Thanks to Moises. You guys be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow. NFL talk, man. Thanks, you guys.
Later, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Later.